I got rid of Matt on Sundays. I got my Sundays free now. I feel like I lost 30 pounds, right, Matt? 40 pounds?
It's a two-way street, Mike. It's a two-way street, man.
Somebody say RPG?
Holy shit, is that Travis?
Look, my bottom lip is gone. I've been biting it off this whole time. Oh.
All right, he says we are, but we'll see.
That ain't fucking creepy at all.
No, I think I just got another booster shot.
Yeah.
Oh man, what is up, everybody? It is the Retro Rents Retro Gaming Podcast. It is episode 84, and this is our big one. This is the end of the year, Christmas, New Year, spectacular extravaganza. And as you no doubt just heard, we've got some special guests with us tonight. It's going to be freaking amazing. We'll kick it off with I am Al.
I'm Nick.
And boys, why don't you introduce yourself? We'll start with the captain.
What's up? This is Mike, formerly of Gamers Unscripted.
Wow.
I'm throwing it way back for you.
I was going to say that one might even be before my time.
No. I could tell it went over like a screen door in a submarine. So BadFodderFigures are here. Hello.
Yeah. We also have Matt and Jeremy. Say hi, boys, and possibly an Eric. I have to see.
Boys.
You call me special, just like my mom.
You are special, Jeremy. This is now a BadFodderFigures podcast.
It totally is. Once there's more than two of you, it's official.
You've been commandeered.
Yes.
Yeah, especially if Jeremy shows up. Though I will say, for anybody of our fans and regular listeners that might have listened to both shows and are now panicking because Jeremy showed up thinking this will be our last one, that is not the case.
Or is it?
Yeah.
I think Craigbot's going to be the end of you.
I think so.
He will.
He will be.
FYI, the phone number is 508-659-BFFS. 508-659-2337. Give us a call. Where are you, Fred French?
Yeah, shit. We haven't heard from Fred in a while. It has been a while. He was a regular caller for here too. We miss Fred. He is alive. He sent me a message, I think, before like 2 episodes ago, just saying he had a cough, which already put me into a panic. But he said he was all right. All right, so this episode, I was trying to think of everybody does like the top 10 games of the year, and I kind of started out with that, and then I just realized when I looked at the games that came out this year that I played, I was having a very hard time coming up with that list. So I switched it around a bit, and I thought, 2021 really wasn't much better of a year than 2020. Some could even say it was probably a bit worse, and I wanted to think about and see, as far as y'all too, like top 3 or so games that you played this year, whether it came out this year or not, that you really enjoyed that kind of helped this year suck less, is the best way that I can describe it. And I figured that would be a fun way to go about this and show 2021 in somewhat of a better light. And why don't we start with... Nick, we'll start with you, and then you can pass the baton to Mike, and then Mike can beat whoever he wants with it after that.
Nice. That's perfect.
Well, I broke mine down into kind of 3 categories. And like you said, this isn't necessarily, something that came out in 21, but just like games that we played through 21. In some capacity. I start mine off actually with Sea of Thieves. It's actually been a really good year for them. They've been releasing a lot of stuff. The thing that did come out this year was the Pirates of the Caribbean story chapters. There's kind of like these little adventures you can go on. Fantastic implementation. And it came out of nowhere. No one was expecting that at all. Because it was just like, it's like was always one of those like, offhanded conversations like, man, this would make a great, Pirates of the Caribbean time, but no way Disney would do this. And, and when they announced it at, I think it was E3, I want to say.
It was E3.
Yeah, I think it was E3 that they first announced it. It was just like, it blew everyone that I knew, that was invested in some way around Sea of Thieves, just blew it away. And we're like, no way. And it came out, it was like I think it was 2 weeks ahead of when it actually released. So it wasn't like, we didn't have to wait till next year or anything. It was like, it was coming now. So it literally came out of nowhere. And the content is super fun. It ties into the movies fantastically. It's kind of like its own little side thing. And it fits perfectly within the Sea of Thieves universe. So it's just like, man. And so that was like, obviously, I'd say the highlight of the year for Sea of Thieves. But they've also been producing continual seasonal content. Constantly adding stuff. They just added some the cannon rowboat. So basically, it's a single cannon on your little rowboat there, and you can go around being like a one cannon terror, shooting at other ships. And they also introduced fireworks, which you think is like they don't really do much other than be fireworks, but it's like these little things that just add to the ambiance of the game. And like they're just like continually adding stuff. There's a whole bunch planned for next year. And it's just one of those, it went from, probably, the diehard stuck with it / it had a rough start to kind of, almost, what we saw with, what was it? Hello Games. Yeah. Thank you. No Man's Sky, where it's just like, it had a really rough start, but they kept going it and running it and, adding new things as they went along, and it's, continually getting better and better.
I gotta be honest. I played some of that content. In fact, the last time I played it, if I remember correctly, I was playing it with Matt, Matt that is here now, and Los. And I don't know if you were there or not, Mike. I was, full disclosure, completely intoxicated, trying to help them out with some puzzle with this tree and instruments and lanterns, and I don't think I was in the voice channel, which didn't help either. And I am sure I'm the one that fucked that up for everybody. Because it was like, you had to be in a certain spot, playing a certain instrument, right? Yes. Because the sun was... That was you, right, Matt?
Yeah. And we had to wait, just wait until, a certain time of the day there. And then everyone had to be playing the instruments right at the same time at a certain spot.
You were doing the Glitterbeard quest then.
Yes.
That's what
okay.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think I got through one or two phases of that. And I was like, yep, I got to go. It's my bedtime. I'm not going to stay up all night for this to try and figure this out.
And I apologize. I can almost guarantee you I'm the one that fucked that up. Because I kept seeing like, when you're not in the voice channel and someone's like, stand over there. Okay. Where? Like, people would have to, go to where I was supposed to stand. I didn't realize I was supposed to be playing a certain instrument. I just completely messed that up for everybody, and I only felt slightly bad about it, but I've been scared and embarrassed to go back in that game since.
Well, to be fair, the Glitterbeard quest is it's not Pirates of the Caribbean. It's actually a very difficult quest. Do you know the story behind it?
Not a bit.
Okay, so it's actually kind of a heartwarming thing. It's in memory to one of their developers. Which is where the Glitterbeard thing came from. He had died, I think, of COVID early on in the pandemic, and this quest, this entire thing was in tribute to him. And so you do it, and you get and you don't really get anything out of it other than I think just like a title or something like that, or a commendation. So it's really for no reward. It requires a ton of cooperation. It requires several ships to worth of company to carry out, and it has to, like you said, it has to be done at certain time, certain way, and then you get it. So,
God damn it, Los. I blame Los. All right, Nick, keep going. Sorry, dude.
No, not at all. Let's see. Next on my list. So this was my must play. This did come out this year, and this was Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
I had a blast with this. Now. full disclosure, I have not played 7. I'm gonna get around to it. But so I kind of skipped around and jumped right into 8. But coming in like super fresh to it, the Resident Evil series again. It was a great story, had great pacing to it. It didn't feel like he was beating you over the head with like these like jump scares or anything like that. Like it felt like really good pacing throughout. A lot of fun side content. There's kind of these like shoot 'em up challenges. Like you can play I think at any time, but more or less I played it after I was done. And I'm looking forward to any DLC content they provide. If there's a sequel, granted, 8 is a sequel to 7, so it's like where do they go from here? But like just a fantastic game all around. I think they're still working on was it Reverse, Resident Evil Verse?
Yeah, Resident Evil Verse or something like that. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that.
And then my last one was kind of I'm labeling the hidden gem. Obviously, this game has been out for quite a bit, but it I finally got around because it arrived on Game Pass. I'm like, okay, I'll check this out because you've been jumping up and down about this game for the longest time. I'm like, okay, I'll finally check it out. And it was Hades. And like I said, I couldn't believe how long it took me to finally sit down and play the game. But it's like, man, it's like so many layers to the story, the characters, great gameplay. It's a roguelike cyclical play, but each one is I'd say semi unique in nature.
Yeah,
and it never really tires out. Granted, I'm not playing as crazy as I did when I first played, but it's definitely one of those like, okay, it's like, oh, I feel like playing, doing a couple levels, getting a few things here and there, and I can easily come back and play it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I had some runner-ups. So again, as always, there's a ton of games that came out and or have been played in 21, but the ones that came out that were still fantastic. Subnautica 2, great fun. Tribes of Midgard that came out I think mid-year, again really awesome. I think they just started their second season. It's a season of the Serpent now because they kicked off with Fenrir, I think it was. Basically this wolf dog monster is at the end now. I guess they have a serpent. I haven't jumped back into it. Right, yeah. And so they got a serpent now, and I want to jump back in and see the new serpent monster. And I'd throw in there like Forza 5. I have not played a racing game in a very, very long time. If I did, it was just, very much in passing or like playing at your house or something. Yeah. But like Forza 5 has been a very fun jump back into kind of the racing genre. For me, it's a lot of freshness to it. I know some people who stated like, so I play every Forza and it's not really a whole lot of new things to it. It's just number 5. But for me, it was like, man, this is actually pretty fun. Like all the various games, obviously the racing elements, but just like all the side stuff that goes along with it, and it plays great as well. So yeah, really, really, really enjoying that. And then I'll throw in some blatant failures this year. Big one, New World. Holy crap! What a fiery, blazing turd that thing was. I am glad I did not jump on that bag when it's like I played way back in the alpha and I was like, oh man, just like it's not there. And just watching the development of this thing is just like, to me, it was like too many red flags. Like I'm gonna let this thing play out. I want to be wrong. Maybe they'll prove themselves, and it's like a month or two in, then maybe I'll buy it if it's still looking good. But just like I think within that 1 to 2 months, just like bugs at the wazoo.
Eating graphics cards. Yeah,
eating graphics cards. They had to shut down the economy twice, apparently. Just like the number of bugs. I think there's a video. Maybe you linked me this video. I'm not sure. But basically, there's a video of like the rise and fall of New World. And it's just insane how many things are just going wrong left, right, and center with this thing. It's like, I don't know if if this is recoverable. I don't think this is a No Man's Sky, Sea of Thieves situation.
It's Amazon. It's Amazon. It'll be dead in a month.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I have a feeling that's going to be the case. Like it's they got their money, they did their cash grab. It's like are they just going to trash it now because they're Amazon, or are they going to try and fix it and get it into a state that it might be workable. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah. Yeah, and then your last one there, of course. Fuck Bobby Kotick. I think that's all we need.
Oh yeah. Blizzard in general, just like, man, the royal fuck up this year,
and just keeps getting worse. I love it. All right. So let's shine the light on the guest, Mike. We're gonna start with you here, Cap. How you been? First off, just a quick catch up, and then you can get into your list. But how's it been, dude?
Things are going well. I'm trying to remember how to podcast here. You guys sound professional, and I'm worried about sounding like an amateur over here, which more or less I am. But,
you were my inspiration, Mike.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry. We all have our crosses to bear. But yeah, things are going swimmingly. No complaints. I got rid of Matt on Sundays. I got my Sundays free now. I feel like I lost 30 pounds, right, Matt? 40 pounds?
It's a two-way street, Mike. It's a two-way street, man.
I thought the cul-de-sac was one big U-turn.
There are shake-ups in the cul-de-sac. Shake-ups.
Oh, yeah. It would be a hell of a thing if we had a podcast right now where we could get into conspiracy theories out the wazoo. But,
Yeah, exactly.
Who said that?
But here we are. Yeah, no complaints. Had a good holiday. Starting a new job in the new year. So things are looking up for sure. And trying to remember what the hell I played in 2021. If you asked me, like what was I doing at like 6:57 p.m. on like March 15th, 1983, I could probably get you exact details.
Yeah.
But you asked me something like, what I've done in the last 5-10 years, and I have no fucking clue.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
so I am trying to remember what I played in 2021. One thing that sticks out, because the one game of the year at Jeff Keighley's show, and certainly I think it was my game of the year as well, was It Takes Two.
Great game.
Yeah, Matt and I played through that, and, I think first of all, Matt and I were blown away with every twist and turn. There was like some new game mechanic that you really never felt like you played before, and it was really
absolutely
a couple times we said through this, like, who the fuck can think this shit up? I have a hard enough time tying my shoes, let alone coming up with game mechanics like this. And it was absolutely beautiful. Some areas I liked more than others. I wasn't crazy about the clock world.
Yeah.
But talk about was it what creature was it, Matt, that was supposed to be cute and cuddly, but either we were beating it up or it beat us up. I can't remember. Was it an elephant or something like that?
I think it's the elephant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I threw my controller across the room.
You threw your controller across the room when we had to do some sort of like flying mission. Was it the elephant was the elephant in one of those planes?
Maybe
It was,
that was it.
It was definitely the plane thing where you had to dodge the bombs and then take out the planes at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that was a controller chucker for sure. But it just what their previous game was what, Brothers
and No Way Out or something like that.
Right.
No.
I thought those were good, competent games, right? But this seemed to take it to a whole nother level for that studio, Hazelight. Really, really extraordinary. The story, I take or leave it a little bit. I mean, that certainly moved things along, but to me, it was more about the worlds that you were going into. And like I said, the new game mechanics. I just remember how lush that blue was with the water.
Yes.
And one of those worlds. That was phenomenal. So that really stuck with me, I think, throughout the whole year. I'm not sure if I came across anything else that really would have like topped that.
Sure.
I probably have played other things longer. I can't remember how long that game was, Matt. I mean, the way Matt and I play, we could take an 8-hour game and stretch that bad boy out to 64 or 72 hours.
I'm pretty sure it took us all week.
Yeah, I mean, I think we played it over a course of a couple of weeks. We can't game every night. We got the responsibilities, but yeah, I think we wrapped it up certainly within like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But that's that's one that sticks out for me. Anybody else play that one?
I did. It's one I really want to play with my wife, but I feel like she'll throw the controller at me.
Hey, well, when you call that foreplay,
I would, because then it turns into a hair pull, and then we run upstairs, and then it's all good. But no.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's. I have to say, you really hit the nail on the head. And I just thought I was just being like overly enthusiastic about it, but that blew me away. On a really nice TV, especially that game really shines. And from a visual aspect, I thought it was so creative. Just the, I swear, if you own a house, you think of these things, what the fuck's going on inside these walls, and you get to, in a sense, play that. Even the vacuum cleaner fight in the beginning, you're talking new gameplay. Once my daughter and I figured out what we had to do, we had so much fun with that. And my oldest, who I played with, she's 8 years old. So it was a masterclass in patience and explanation. But we had a lot of fun playing that game. It really is something that, I think everybody should at least play once. You may not beat it, but give it a solid go, because that is a great game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to play with someone else, though, right? You can't play that solo.
Yeah, and I really think that's the deal with all their games, as far as I understand it. Even the Prison Escape one, I think you have to play with another person. I could be wrong, but
right. They don't give you any sort of AI or anything like that. You have to.
No.
Yeah. So that blew me away, and congratulations on that guy who won Game of the Year over at Hazelight.
Well deserved.
And kudos to him. I think it was 3-hour show or something like that, and I think he might have been aware of that himself. He probably had a plane to catch to go back to Sweden, and he was like, thanks. He kept his speech very, very short. I think it was under 30 seconds, which was so appreciative.
That's a good show this year, though. I think Keeley just does it better and better every year. I enjoyed it this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on. This is another game I think I'm going with visuals. Is the Ascent. It's on Game Pass, a twin stick shooter. I know Matt had some mixed feelings on it, but I stuck with it through the end. Needed some help at the end from our buddy Bricko, part of the BadFodderFigures community. But I really like the whole aesthetic of the game. I mean, if you're asking me what the fucking story was, I really don't know. Someone stole something and you had to do something, and something else happened. I don't really remember the story. For me, it was just about being a twin stick shooter, blowing up a lot of shit, and it just felt, once you got the hang of it and you powered up your guy, it just felt like everything sort of clicked for me.
And I love that it took place in that tower. It's just about you start out in the ass bottom of this tower, and the story wasn't necessarily memorable, but I think the world was. It was just a cool environment to play in.
For sure, and I'd like to go back to it because I've heard they've been doing steady updates to it, and it's in a much better place than it is now. It didn't have the smoothest launch when it came to co-op, online co-op. I don't even know if this couch co-op, but online, especially when you were trying to play with people on PC, there was some issues there. A lot of problems, but I enjoyed it. Difficult towards the end. Like I said, I had to call a lifeline, and I think it's worth it for I'm one of those guys that says, tell me this game is awesome and great, and oh, by the way, it's on Game Pass. I don't feel that this title is like that. I feel like this title is like, hey, it's on Game Pass. What do you got to lose? And if people can understand the difference there, I think there is a difference, when you got something that's really, if someone said It Takes Two is on Game Pass, that would be like, oh, by the way, it's also on Game Pass. Regardless if it was on Game Pass or not, you should go out and buy It Takes Two. With the Ascent, I'd say, hey, maybe don't hold off on buying it, but just play it on Game Pass. But I did really enjoy my time with it. I like those sort of twin stick shooters, kind of mindless, just blowing shit up. See a red barrel, shoot it type deal.
I mean, even though I didn't care for it too much, it was a neat game. It did look great. I thought the graphics on it were really cool, and for what we did play of it, what I did play of it, it was pretty good. Loot and everything in that. So, but it definitely did look good.
Yeah, it had steady flow of loot, and hopefully they fixed it along the way. At some point, it felt like you maxed out maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, and there wasn't much to to level up at a certain point, and it's like, well, why do I even care now about collecting and picking up shit? My guy's already maxed out. So maybe they have corrected that at some point. I'm not sure, but moving on. One of the best games I've played over the last couple of years, Ghost of Tsushima. I certainly finished that last year, but they had some DLC that came out here this year, Iki Island, and so I played that, and just more of the same, which is awesome for me because I thought the base game was great. I put it right up there with The Witcher 3 as far as quality for that type of action adventure /RPG. I'm not sure if it's got too much RPG in it, but what's that?
Somebody say RPG?
Sure.
Oh, shit, is that Travis?
It might be.
So
snap.
So the Island of Iki to me was really, really well done. Different enemy this time around. Messing with your mind, memories of your past. But as far as combat and execution, everything else was still top notch. And I think Sucker Punch really knocked that one out of the park for me. It's a game that I sometimes, like, I got nothing else left to do in the game. I finished every quest line and everything like that, and I'll just run around just to see the world and hack and slash guys and just take it all in because it is really breathtaking in certain places.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game, and I think I love it for the same reason I love The Witcher 3. Not just the open world aspects, but like the game that the developers made, like they really respected the medium that it came from. Like you could tell in The Witcher 3, they, it got me to read the books. And as I read the books, it's like, holy shit, like they deep dove on these books and really like made that world come to life. And like, to me, Ghost of Tsushima is like, it's like the Kurosawa movies. Like it knows what it is, and it's a goddamn good, samurai movie set to a game, and it's done wonderfully. Like you said, the visuals are absolutely amazing. The gameplay is fun. It's challenging. It never feels cheap, unless you're just trying to go somewhere you really aren't ready to go to yet. But like, other than that, like it's just a solid game all around. I still play it. I'm still enjoying that one too. So yeah, that's a great pick for 2021.
Yeah, then some honorable mentions. Kind of Bridge of Spirits. I played that on the PlayStation 5. It's got some Souls-like Zelda kind of mashup to it. Your mileage will vary. Some people may say it's kid friendly, but it's definitely a challenging game for sure. Like I said, it's got the Souls elements to it. It looks beautiful. I think it's the first game that studio has put out, so that was a really good effort on their part. And then I think Halo Infinite. For what you can say about the campaign has a lot of issues that plague a lot of open world games, right? It's a lot of the same type of missions over and over again because they want to like fill up the time meter. They don't want to just wrap it up in 12 hours. So you got a lot of the same missions, just like, you play a lot of other open world type games. But for me, it felt like the first really Halo game that sort of clicked. If you want to use that. And it could be just, maybe I just play too many damn shooters and I just want them all sort of to kind of be a little similar so I can just pick up and go. But yeah, the grappling hook, like I said on Twitter, the Just Cause guys, saying, what took you so long, putting that in there. It just made you could pretty much see anything in that game and you could go to it. You were used to going to and playing in games where you see landscapes and you get to them and all of a sudden it's just like a wall, right? You try to climb up and your guy slides down. You could really traverse anywhere you want in that game, which I thought was pretty impressive. Story was just okay in my book, which I think most Halo games are just okay. I think they suffer a little bit in the writing there. But I thought mechanic-wise, visual, they really did a good job. If I was a journalist, I'd give it somewhere around a score of an 8. But I thought it was good.
Yeah, solid. I'm enjoying the multiplayer on that.
I'm having a ball.
Yeah, and the multiplayer is a lot of fun. For some reason, like I said, I think they've just sort of modernized the mechanics of that game to be more in line with, the Call of Duties, the Apex, Battlefields, Fortnite. So when I play it, I feel like I'm more competitive than I used to be in Halo games.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like I'm not playing and just beating my head against the wall, that I'm actually making some progress.
Yeah, no, it's a solid game. Solid game. Mike, who do you want to smack with the baton next? We do have a Travis just joined us. One of our original co-founders. Some of y'all might remember him as Soda Bread. He is here. Welcome, Travis. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here finally.
Let's give it a Travis. I know he's in New Jersey and things close early there. Got to keep
even worse, I'm in PA.
Oh Christ!
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Watch it.
Well, you said you the other day on Twitter, you said you were so proud of being from New Jersey, so I thought you were still there.
I'm from there, but not actually there. It sucks.
No one. Yeah, the problem is no one ever really brags about that. But that's all you, Travis.
All right. All right. So I guess I'm going over my my top games played in 2021.
Yeah, like your top 3. It's more like it doesn't have to come out this year, but it's like.
Well, that's good because I don't play games that are new. So
I was gonna say this works perfectly for you. It's more like this year sucked like last year, but what were the games that you really enjoyed that made this year suck less? So like your top 3 or whatever.
All right. Well, we'll start off with a game that actually did come out this year, Ration and Clank. That game is so damn good. I don't care if reviewers are pissed off because not every single bush moves when you whack it with the spanner. But everything about that game is just it's an absolutely stunning game. The gameplay is just a perfect evolution on just the way that Ratchet and Clank has always played. It is I'm a little biased because Ratchet is my all-time favorite game series. And this is just the icing on the cake that is just every other game in the series. So I'll take it.
It's a great game. It
really is.
Game.
And just the dancing is wonderful.
And if I go back to my memory issues there, if I remembered Ratchet and Clank came out this year, I probably would have bumped the Ascent to honorable mention and put Ratchet in there. But so be it. Ratchet and Clank was phenomenal. I thought the way they nailed it with a dual sense, every gun felt different. You could feel like every bullet or whatever projectile was being shot out.
It was really, really well done. And I mean, Insomniac just knows what the hell they're doing. Between Ratchet and Spider-Man, like they've just got a lock on ridiculously good games for Sony.
And I'll be damned if that DualSense doesn't get a freaking honorable mention of its own. Like when that's done right, holy shit, is that cool when that's done right?
I honestly think it's the best evolution of a controller since like
Wiimote,
the Dreamcast. Nah, Dreamcast is the best still, but
sing it.
I know. I think the Wiimote still had issues, at least until the adapter came out, that made it just work properly most of the time.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But yeah, the DualSense is crazy good. I think they knocked that out of the park. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one. I have a list of all the games I've played this year, and I'm actually trying to figure out which goes on my list at this point. But I think the next up is probably gonna have to be Borderlands 3.
Great game.
Nice.
I really enjoyed Borderlands 3. I know a lot of people felt that it was a step back from Borderlands 2. But that being said, it was still a blast to play. I like all the meta stuff that they had introduced. Like just finding all like the the Tyrion? All like the Tyrion pedestals that you heard about his travels and there's all that cool stuff. I enjoy that, and the worlds I think were absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a visually great game, man.
And honestly, I did not hate the antagonists as much as everybody else did. I mean, they were no handsome Jack, flat out, but I still thought that they were pretty fun, and they made me hate them, which was great. But they were not annoying to me. I know a lot of people thought that they were annoying characters, but I thought they were good. And it was not fun not being able to play as Zero because I am a straight ninja fanboy, but I'll take what I can get. I played as Flak for most of it, and I like Flak. Flak is a lot of fun. And I think
the mech. I forget who the mech is, but I enjoyed the mech.
I don't remember anybody's name of Flak, honestly.
I like how they kept up with the game. They've kept DLC going on and just
still doing that.
Good still. So yeah,
we got Tiny Tina's. Is that next year? Is that coming out next year? I think.
Either February. I think February or March, something like that.
It just sucks that Pitchford is still in charge of it. That guy's a douche.
I just want more games. Yeah, no, it was good. I liked the antagonist in that one. Just with like, I don't know, most games like to do some subtle commentary on current times, and I loved the streaming aspect of the antagonist. I thought that was a cool take. It was something different, and it's a fun game for sure. It's definitely up there.
All right, let's see. And I think for what's that?
I was gonna say you got a number 3.
I certainly do. My third is a game released in, I think it was 2003. Atelier Iris Eternal Mana. It's a JRPG for the PS2.
I've never played that, and it's on my list to play.
I think it's a lot of fun. Me and Adam, aka Xcore, we played that last year for the short-lasted RPG Kingdom podcast.
I loved that podcast, by the way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But we played that, and neither of us really enjoyed it very much. It's a slow burn. You really have to play like halfway through before it gets like, this game's damn good. So we only played for like 10 hours or so, and it just didn't really hook either of us. But I decided that, I'm going to play through the whole thing because I did start it and I don't want to leave it unfinished. So I ended up playing it as part of one of my YouTube series, and I'm like a hair away from being done with the game. But like when you really dig into it, there's actually a lot going on in that game, and it does become really, really fun. The story is a lot of fun too. So I don't know. That's one of the games that kind of kept me going through dealing with a lot of crap this year, and so I think I'm good with those ones. And I definitely have to give an honorable mention to Suikoden 2. I haven't played enough of it yet, but it has been a really good trip so far. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that reminds. Slow burn always makes me think of the Legend of Heroes Trails series.
Yeah, those are real slow.
They are, but I'm telling you, it's like you're saying, it's one of those, if you really do want to stick to a good story, and I was talking to somebody else about it, like the world building is the best world building in any game I've ever played. And it just, I'm working my way through the series, and it just gets better and better and better. And but it is definitely not, if you're looking for the shit to hit the fan and kick off and really pull you along, you gotta work at that one a little bit. So it's definitely not for everybody.
It takes 3 games to get to that point.
Not that bad. All right, who are you beating with the baton?
I don't know who's left.
You got Matt, you got Jeremy, you got Matt, Jeremy, and me. Sorry. I'll save mine for last. I'm fine with that.
All right, let's go with Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So
hey,
for
Matt,
me, yes, sir. Mike.
Can you give out the phone number before you go on?
508-659 BFFS.
Yes.
Yeah. I won't leave a voicemail. See if anyone answers.
BadFodderFigures. Sorry, Fred is not here. I wish he was.
Oof. Man, that's just made me cringe.
Gamers in beta.
Oh, that always gets harder than BadFodderFigures. For me, even though it came out in the end of 2020, Destiny 2, the Beyond Light expansion, DLC pack, and everything, and then the seasons for that. That's what I've been majority of my past year has been playing that, and I've been enjoying that very much. Going in and upgrading my gear and getting all the loot and stuff, and doing the strikes and the dungeons, and just overall just enjoying doing the seasonal activities and everything. It's been fun. I enjoy playing. We got a decent clan going on right now that I'm in. That just they're out there doing the things that they're supposed to be doing to get the clan weekly rewards and all that, and they're very helpful. So it's just nice having a community like that. And it's in season 15 right now, and it's the longest season they ever had because it doesn't end until like February 22nd. It started way back when. So, that one there definitely for sure is my number one for the year. And
is there any game whose guns feel as good as that game does, especially on the PlayStation?
Like guns do feel incredible.
Don't they? Like, I thought it was maybe me, but like out of any shooter I've ever played, the guns in Destiny 2 just feel fucking great. Like the way they shoot, the way they play, the way they recoil. They just seem to have that down to a damn science.
Yeah, I think they do feel good. They've always been good at that, and I just like they do the community events. Like right now it's the Dawning event where you go and you make cookies and you deliver cookies and you gotta throw snowballs at people and stuff, and just different things like that. They had back at Halloween they had the Festival of the Lost thing, so that's always cool. I always like when games do that type of stuff. Borderlands does it too. They had Captain Haunt come back this year, and
that's cool.
They did a Valentine's thing last year and stuff. So I just enjoy it when games go with the seasons and they add things, little touches here and there like that, just to make it feel more alive.
Might have another person to play Destiny with, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
At Christmas dinner, my cousin's fiance, who regularly doesn't show up to family gatherings because he usually goes to his own family, but now that they're getting married in just 5 days, I think my cousin said, "Hey, you got to start showing up, and we got to stop being an item." So he was there at Christmas dinner, and we were just talking. He's got a PS5, and all he does is play Destiny 2. So we might have
nice.
I might better bring a family member into the fold to play some Destiny with us.
Well,
you'll probably interact with him more.
No.
Yeah.
Nice. And then while waiting for Forza 5 to come out this year, I downloaded Forza 4 off of Game Pass. And man, what a great game. Even I'll get to Forza 5 in a minute. But Forza 4 was, such a great game. The variety of cars that they had in there, the scenery and stuff. And Forza 5, the same thing. It's just, they really upped their game as far as the way cars look, the amount of cars they have in the game. The sounds are incredible.
Yeah, I was going to say.
For the cars, they sound great when you're driving around.
Oh, yeah.
If Destiny's a game for, feels good when you shoot, Forza is a game that feels great when you drive around.
Even the interiors. Like, the interiors of the cars are...
Yeah.
And Chatterbait is great. It feels great. Oh, no.
Yeah. It feels good when you do that.
Yes.
So the Forza games are great. Forza 5 is really neat. Glad it's on Game Pass. It's a great game to get off of that. It looks great. And then they got the collectibles and stuff in there. Of course, they got the races and everything for you to do, and road tracks and all that. But then they got collectibles in there, like the those billboards and stuff. You got to try and collect and get all those. And they got a thing where you drive every single road. So
the barn finds, those are fun.
Barn finds, yeah, those are always cool. And I had someone the other day just gift me a couple of cars.
Nice.
Which is something you can do in the game. So it wasn't anything special. It was like a little Ford Escort or something like that. But
that's cool.
But like the variety of cars that they have in there, you can get like a '79 Gremlin.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like,
I saw that. Like, yeah, I'm getting that. Go from that to like a Lamborghini, all these supercars and stuff in there, trucks, just regular cars that you would drive every day are in the game. So it's really cool that they do that. And again, it's different with the seasons, but like every week the season changes in that. They got different challenges and stuff for you to do, so it keeps the game fresh. Different things and stuff. It's one of the games where I guess you beat it when you get to that Hall of Fame thing or whatever they got.
Right.
But you can there's still plenty to do. Still, they change the things around so you can keep playing it and keep it new.
Tons of cars to collect, and then they do like tournaments and stuff. The tournaments are real cool.
And then there's fan-based created stuff too that people create tracks and that are in there and everything.
Some of that shit is nuts.
Some of it's crazy.
I played one that was like a ski jump off the side of the mountain with a car, where you get like easily 10 seconds of airtime, and I was just like, yeah, this car would not survive that.
And
I like to play some co-op. The game is not really holding my attention solo, so I'm gonna have to try playing it sometime with you guys.
Yeah, we're going to get into a session sometime or something.
I think they've ironed out a lot of the multiplayer issues that they had in launch week as well. So.
Oh yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, I'd be in for that.
Yeah, we should.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun multiplayer.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to try. I've never played the multiplayer with other people, so it'd be fun to do and to see what it's like.
Although we did play Wreckfest multiplayer, and Matt came at us with a couch.
That was great. that was a great game. That's something. That's a classic game, also. Something like that where you just pure shenanigans happen. That and that golf game, golf with your friends.
Oh, golf with your friends! Oh my god!
Another game, just game night shenanigans happening, having a good time.
I haven't laughed. I haven't laughed as hard as I did playing Wreckfest in a game ever. I was dying that night. Just hilarious.
Yeah, between the buses and the couches and the lawnmowers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's just fun stuff there. Trying to get people and knock them off the map and that. That's some good shit there.
That was fun.
And then my third would be any sports game for the year, which golf with your friends would fit into that. But Madden, MLB The Show.
Dude, the show was great this year, and it was on Xbox.
Yeah, yeah, on Game Pass.
I wish you Xbox people would just shut up.
Oh man!
But
it's
like,
awesome.
I was so surprised that one landed on Xbox, because that was like one of the reasons to buy a PlayStation, was because they had the MLB license.
Yeah,
you see what happened? They got the game 1 year, and the fucking sport now is locked out, and there'll be no baseball. Have we confirmed that there'll be no MLB The Show next year, or at least they can't use the players' likenesses, right? While there's a lockout?
That would be correct.
That's correct.
So they're probably working on the game, and curious to see if they'll release it with no players or anything.
Everybody's number 20, number 18.
yeah.
Every player is just going to be Seamus Blackley. All of them.
Matt, you said
from Cincinnati.
It doesn't get released as early as it used to, right? Now it gets like what, April? You said?
Yeah, it's like the first week in April.
So they got a little bit of time, so there's still hope.
Yeah, I mean, it used to get released back in the day. It was like middle of spring training.
Right. Yeah, which makes sense. Build up the hype for the season, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But now, no, it doesn't come out till like April. Like it's like right around opening day. But it's just fun to go back and play sports games, because that's what I kind of grew up on that too, with the old PlayStation and everything.
Yeah.
Playing Madden all the time, playing baseball, hockey, the old not Madden hockey, but the old NHL EA Sports hockey game and that. So it's just neat to go and kind of live out your sports fantasy team with those games and stuff. Yeah,
and that new NHL game, man, holy shit, does that ice look good. That's like one of the only sports games, that in the show, that play flawlessly on my Xbox. Any of the other EA, like Madden, FIFA, it crashes the shit out of my machine. It's just those 2 games, but
Madden had some issues this year. It wasn't quite the polished game as it. Well, it's never really 100% polished, but it just was really not as good this year compared to past years and stuff.
First year you didn't buy it, right?
It's the first year I didn't buy it, yeah, because it got so many bad reviews. I just kept playing the old one, the one I had that I bought last year.
Well, I think the truth is you were just so overwhelmed, sweaty hands over there losing the Super Bowl on Twitch that you just couldn't rebound. Couldn't rebound.
That was
horrible. The game. Yeah.
That was horrible. That game.
You fuckers are making me nervous.
Vaginas.
Broadcasting out their anuses.
Oh boy.
Are we going to have some terrible topics this episode? What's going on?
Isn't that what I'm doing right now?
True.
Touché.
Oh, I miss terrible topics.
It's almost like they miss us.
Yeah, I know. How come we never get this feedback when we was actually doing the show?
I fucking said it.
Honestly, it's the reason is I'm like so starstruck right now talking to you guys that. Like, I don't know. I was afraid to talk to you guys before, and because I wanted you to really like me, so I never introduced myself, and so
I never really gave a shit, and I crashed their show for the Red Dead episode, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, I knew something was up on that last episode when Jeremy's like, and I will be here for all remaining bad fodder figures. I was like, motherfucker, they're hanging up the mics.
Yeah, shit happens. So then, anyways, so I got a couple of honorable mentions. It Takes Two, which we already talked about. Just fabulous game. The co-op in that, and how you had to work, teamwork, which is a hell of a thing for me and Mike sometimes to get teamwork in. Worked out great for us. Figuring out the puzzles, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then Red Dead Redemption 2. I got Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Series X.
Such a great fucking game.
Yeah, I saw it was like on sale one day for like $29. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it for the Series X. And
it looks so good.
I'm so happy I bought it, and I'm playing through it. I pick it up here and there, play through it again, and sometimes I just go through and I make a couple saves, and I'll go through and I'll just fuck shit up. I'll go through and just tie people up, drag them behind the horse, try and rob a train. Just I'm walking down the trail and someone says, "Howdy, partner," and I shoot him in the head.
Blow their face off.
It's
great.
Yeah, but the story's great, and Arthur, I've got a plan. That's going to work this time.
It's going to work this time, Arthur.
It's going to work, Arthur.
Just
one more.
You take a bath, and then you chop some wood.
Oh, yeah. I knew that.
You pick out a new saddle.
I knew that was going to get Jeremy to talk. I knew it.
Jeremy, that's like real life stuff, man. You take a bath, and then the woman knocks on the door and says, "Hey, honey, for 50 cents, I can rub you down." Yeah. So,
I still remember, I think his only input in the Red Dead episode was, I fucking hated it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jeremy didn't like the whole having to eat stuff and that. And,
Look, my bottom lip is gone. I've been biting it off this whole time. So at the beginning, it was like, oh man, 2021 was so bad. It was just like 2020. I'm sitting here thinking it wasn't that bad, but after hearing your guys' list, I get it now. I get it. I really like and respect almost half the people here, but all of you deserve better than what you've been playing.
The sizzle reel. Here it comes.
They say PC Master Race. I'm sure there's going to be virtual reality Master Race.
I was going to say, here comes the Oculus Jedi.
Yeah. We'll save the best for last, so Al can go next.
All right.
Doesn't the robot get a say?
No, fuck
Craig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Craig is halfway through his beer, so he's going to crash any time now.
He's still hacking my phone right now, so just need some time.
All right, Jeremy, I'll play your game, you rogue, and I'll go through my 3. It's funny, I went with these on a gut, and then I found a way to look at my most played shit on Steam this year, and this kind of lines up. So, my first one, and this has been as close to an obsession as you can get for the past 2 months or so. It's called Wildermyth. It's a PC game. It was in early access last year. Actually, went through the standard year that you're supposed to do, and then released 1.0, I think, in September. It's got a comic book art style to it. It tells the stories in comic panels anyway. Combat's kind of like XCOM, but it's a D&D style game, Dungeons and Dragons, fantasy setting. But it's a procedural story generator. You create 3 characters in the beginning of the game. Basically, one's like a fighter type. The other is a, scout / archer, whatever you want to call it. And then the other is a wizard. And the game has a really unique magic system. I don't want to go too into details, but basically, you start out, you're just little, basically farm kids or, kids on a farm. Shit starts happening, and you slowly get pushed into fighting back and having to be heroes. And each campaign takes over, a campaign will take over several chapters. And it's, again, a randomly generated story based on, the kind of enemy that you're facing, their characters' traits, and then, you'll go through a chapter, you'll kind of work your way towards fighting the big bad. Each chapter has an objective. And you'll go through, you'll do, quests, your characters interact and, develop relationships or whatever. And then you get to the end of the chapter, you fight the big final battle, and then it'll be 10 years of peace, passes. And then it'll tell you the story in between, the end of that chapter, what your characters are doing, and your characters slowly age. Some might get together, have kids, and you'll actually get to play them in future chapters. And by the end of your campaign, some of your characters will have died either in combat or even of old age. And it's just a really great RPG / story generator. I don't even know how to explain it. It's super fun. I could see someone like Los just losing their entire free time to it. But I've really enjoyed it. I don't even know if any of you have heard of it, but it's worth a look on Steam.
I've definitely seen a lot of people have it in their top 10.
Yeah, it's really
what's it called
really
again?
Wildermyth. I'll put it in the Discord channel here just so you can see the name of it, and then but yeah, it's not expensive. I think it's a 2-person development team. They've already got a system to mod the game, guides to mod it, and there are some great mods to the game. Some are not so great, and some are just flat out funny. You'll basically scout, the world map gets randomly generated, and you'll scout tiles of it, and then that will determine if there's a fight or a quest where you have to make story decisions, and that'll change your characters, the world. And all of a sudden I got to one where it was the heroes are walking in this cave, and they're well, there's a bunch of eggs around, and we can gather up these eggs, but there's a lot of monsters in the next room. And the one character's hey, can you calculate our chances? And then the other character's yeah, I'm getting 33.3% repeating. That's better than we normally get. It basically turned into Leroy Jenkins, and turns into a fucking enormous battle, playing on the whole Leroy Jenkins meme. So some mods are better than others, but it was still pretty funny. But yeah,
I just looked at the Steam page. Mike and Matt, you can just nod your head and be polite, and then
nod your head and be polite. Probably...
Yeah, I just got there. Yep, that's
what's Steam?
Yeah, the Dell doesn't run that anymore.
Is it in 720p?
Yes. It's more of
actually,
only in the garage.
Yeah.
Oh, I upgraded my TV in the garage, by the way.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah. 1080? No. Well, yeah, it's 1080, but I took the 42-inch from upstairs and took it down to the garage.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And And Alan, I hear you did some very loud typing just to appease Jeremy there. You know how he's a huge fan of that.
I'll never forget it. That's why I did it. The other one, I'm going to swap out my number 2 because I saw this as an honorable mention, and I was like, no. When I looked at my Steam games played, I have over 250 hours in this year, and it came out this year. And that's Crusader Kings 3. I've pretty much talked about that game ad nauseum on the show. That's a PC game, grand strategy, basically medieval kingdom simulator. I don't even know how to describe it. But if you want to ever play, like literally play what Game of Thrones is, that's the game to do it. There's everything from, there's brothers and sisters doing the whole Jaime and Cersei Lannister thing, and you can have a nice inbred line of completely psychotic people. It's a wild game, again, of story generation and lots of dead bodies. Very cool. That's Crusader Kings 3. Is
there nudity?
Absolutely.
There you go, Mike. You might be in it. You might be.
Yeah. Like that game that me and you played. You were hiding out in the bush. You kept showing me your bush.
Yeah. General jousting.
No. What was that called? There was no bushes in that. I remember that.
That was a Divinity Original Sin.
Right.
Oh, that one. Yes, Divinity. Actually, this kind of goes along with that, Jeremy. This one, if you haven't played this, I know if I remember, I think you like the Divinity games. But this is Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. This came out later this year, and I already have over 100 hours into this one. This is like the Divinity games, more like a Baldur's Gate style, kind of isometric. What I love about this game is just the amount of choice and story branching that this game does. Like a lot of RPGs, you don't really... You get powerful to a point, but this is more like you start out like you're kind of a badass enough warrior or adventurer, whatever the hell you are. But as you go through this game, you eventually go down what's called a mythic path on your way to becoming godlike. And you could be an angel, a demon, or turn into like the freaking plague bearer that drowns the world based on whatever choices you want to make. Become a dragon or a lich. Like, it's nuts. Like, if you're into the Dungeons and Dragons style stuff, this is a game that really lets you live out, like, if you want to be the most evil motherfucker that ever existed in a game, you can literally do that, and they have a decent enough story written out for it so that you can play start to finish and basically drown the world in darkness. Or be, Mr. Angel, whatever you want to do. It literally lets you play kind of however the hell you want to play a character, and I've had a lot of fun with that. So that's Wrath of the Righteous. Then I would say, for honorable mentions, I'll throw the Legend of Heroes Trails series in. That one Travis was getting at earlier. This is a slow burn. I don't recommend it to anybody here except maybe Travis.
That makes sense.
It was a good one. I played a shit ton of that this year. Really great world building and a ton of story. And then I have to just give 2 honorable mentions, one of which Mike already hinted at, Matt too, and that's Game Pass. PC, Xbox, Game Pass, doesn't matter. I think if there is like a highlight of 2021, it is definitely Game Pass finding its stride. And really, especially, when you look at the year that we're in, and people may not have a lot of money to throw at, like, trying a game out, I love that Game Pass really gives you a solid menu of, like, yeah, there are some absolute turds on that service. And I know Mike has mentioned this a few times. But, like, the fact that you can just, as part of your subscription, grab a game that you might even think this looks like a complete turd burger, and it turns out to be great. And I think that's what I like about Game Pass. Or there's the one where it's like, man, I really was going to buy this game, and it's coming out on Game Pass. That's great. I'm going to play it. Within 5 minutes, I'm like, that game fucking sucks, and I'm glad I didn't drop 60 on it. Like, I feel like Game Pass is a big highlight this year for me. And then
huge one.
Yeah, and then I have to finish it off like you were saying, Nick. Hades is just insane. Just a wildly fun game, and one I continue to pick up and play. And then I'll end it before I pass it to Jeremy, and he will probably mention this one, but he's the one that wound up getting me to pick this up, and we played this together on stream, on his stream the one night, and that is Demeo. Probably the best VR game I think I've played in a multiplayer setting. And it's basically, the way I describe it to people is if you ever played Hero Quest, the board game, growing up, that's pretty much what Demeo is, except it's in VR and you're like picking up the figures and going down the dungeon hallway, you're rolling the dice, and the game does like all the, obviously does all the math for you, and the characters are like, the figures are really well sculpted. I think we even made a point of like the big bad at the end of the game had like horribly dirty feet and a stanky bottom. Like it was just funny in a lot of ways, but that's a really amazing game that I have to get back to playing because I had a lot of fun with that. So I would definitely give Demeo an honorable mention. I'm sure none of those really resonated aside from Demeo, and I'm just more excited to hand the baton to Jeremy to hear of everything I've been missing aside from Warframe. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, no, see that, yeah. So I gotta say the nice stuff first. So first of all, thanks for having me on here.
Of course.
It's great after 86 episodes. You finally asked me to be a guest, so that's awesome. I really love your show. Except for the fact that I have to check my blood sugar before I listen because you're always so damn sweet and nice, and you never say anything bad about any game ever. Every game that you play is a blast, and this it's so charming and great. So yeah, so just your goal for me, you did great with the keyboard stuff. You got that under control. 2022, I want to hear you complain about a game.
All right, so I will
2022. You got some more. Yeah, so you do that. you come back and you just shit hard on a game. That's what I'm gonna have.
I'm gonna have an entire section towards the end of the show called "The Game I Plan to Shit On." Or something along those lines. I'm doing that for you, Jeremy. We're changing the format.
Because listen, this is your fault because you have not been preparing your listeners for some asshole like me to get on here and just say negative stuff because you're all sunshine and teddy bears. So this is on you.
You got to go way back to those original episodes when me and Kyle were on.
Yeah.
So, but no, in all seriousness, thanks for having me on. Next time, maybe without Matt and Mike. But
look at the time. I gotta
run. My slippers are in the microwave being warmed up.
No, I'll go quick. And actually, believe it or not, 2021 was not a big VR year for me. I still played some stuff, but I didn't spend a lot of time playing new VR stuff other than Demeo, which you mentioned. Which, that was probably the highlight of my year as far as gaming goes. Was the end of my Extra Life marathon I did back in October with a buddy of mine. We saved Demeo for last, just for those waning hours, and
it was a good one for it.
Oh, we had like a 3.5 hour session that was a nail biter. It came down to the end, and it was one of those moments where you actually your hands go up in the air and you cheer. And he woke up his 1-year-old and got yelled at by his wife because we were just it was literally like for you sports fans. It was bottom of the ninth, 4th and goal. They pulled the goalie and then we kicked the soccer thing or something. I don't know, but it was great. So
let's do that hockey.
Yeah. So it was, so definitely Demeo was probably my top. Probably all games really, but definitely not all games, but definitely in VR. And so because I had been hitting VR so hard in the past, there were a lot of things that I didn't really get to when they came out. And I did pick up a PS5 at the end of last year, so I figured, hey, I finally got this thing. It was won that lottery, so might as well actually put some use to it. So I spent some time early in the year kind of cleaning out that to-do list with the PlayStation. So I did the Miles Morales. I finished that, and that was
a good one.
I did the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was great. I finished that, which, for me, when you play a lot of VR games, you'll know that either they never get finished because it's like an endless type thing, or you finish it in an hour and then you're...
I was going to say, like an hour, yeah, you're done.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of real rich story-driven things. So for me, this year, I finished probably 6 or 7 games, I think. which is a lot for me to
that's
actually have that patience. Especially when you think about all the stuff that was on Game Pass that I just bounced off of because, you say, "Oh, it's a great value," and I'm not going to argue with that. But I would like to know the averages of people who think that it's great because they didn't have to buy the game versus they just got a really good game for the cost of the subscription. So,
I would agree. I was kind of getting that. I would say that it's much more I'm glad I didn't have to buy that. But then
right.
It's not often, but the ones that I do find where it was like, holy shit, like Hades being on Game Pass, like that to me is like, that's worth 3 months of Game Pass easy. Like Hades would be worth $50.
You played it before though. You had already played Hades before.
I had already played it, yeah.
So
yeah.
and so that's
fair.
I'm not really trying to shit on Game Pass because I think it is a good service for what it is. But I fear because I'm already seeing it. I fear what it's doing to people's brains and expectations about what games should be, how much games should cost, when games should be available to them, and stuff like that. So
that's totally fair.
I definitely see value in Game Pass and. I won't pull up numbers as far as the best value in gaming when you start looking at like PS Now and stuff like that. But I will say that I think Game Pass saves people more money, and whether or not that's good for developers, we'll never know because we'll never get those details out of Xbox.
I want those numbers, man.
Right?
Those numbers.
What about the developers that don't or can't get their game released on Game Pass?
Right.
Like that game like Death's Door, right? Before Game Pass, everybody would have bought that. But now you have people saying, "Well, I'm not going to buy that because eventually it's going to come to Game Pass."
Right, right.
Well, and it's not my problem to worry about other people's money. I'm just saying, if we're into this gaming as sort of a hobby and we want to see it thrive and continue on, which it will, we got to
pay people. We got to pay people who's doing it.
Yeah.
What are the long-term effects of those types of services where, like I said, developers might come to Microsoft and Microsoft, sorry, your game's not, we don't want it, or they could have a great game and say, you know what, we don't want to go to Game Pass.
Sure.
So I don't know. Like Jeremy says, we'll probably never see those numbers. It exists in other ecosystems, Netflix and things like that. So it seems definitely sustainable, I guess, to a point, but. There's definitely probably some effect that Game Pass has out there on developers.
Well, and then I think about stuff like that Dark Alliance game that came out. That thing was like I had such high hopes for that, and it was
I did too.
And then it was just it was I don't know, they phoned it in and
a turd burger. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be developers that rest on their laurels and say, you know what, this is going to come on Game Pass, so why do we got to go the extra mile with our game? People are going to get it. People are going to get it free no matter what, and they're going to play it because it's free.
That's what I was going to follow up with was, are we seeing more of that? And it's funny, you picked the game that I would have picked too, because like I was pumped for that one. I played the old version of that. I love the Forgotten Realms. Like that was, I thought, gonna be my game of the year. Like when they announced the co-op, and of course you're gonna play as Drizzt and like all the classic characters. I was like, fuck, there's no way this game can go wrong. And
every which way kind of wrong it
holy shit, did that game stink. And it I don't know, man. Like I think that's more my worry, because like I was talking to someone over in Exile, like Game Pass has done a lot for games like oh shit, I'm blanking, Nick. Wasteland 3. It did a lot for them, just as far as reach, and like they sounded pretty happy with the money they made off of it. But like, are we getting more games like Dark Alliance? And that's more my concern, is that are we going to get, stinkers that just somehow gets, picked up on the Game Pass? And maybe that's what you're getting, is that there probably needs to be more of a curated selection of.
I just feel like if it's a good game like Hades, you should buy it.
Yeah,
and I think if it's a shit game like Dark Alliance, they shouldn't get money for it.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
Yeah, but not to go too far off there. And then God of War, I finished that, and just go right down here. And I'm actually, that coming to PC, I think is going to be a big win for a lot of the folks who refuse to go to the console land. So, and then I actually started just on a whim the other day because I didn't want to get anything too heavy, but I was going through my whole free list of games that you get with getting a PS5, and that infamous sequel, Second Son, that I think
never
was probably
played that.
a launch. I didn't either, and so I'm like, I'll just give it a shot. It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's very much a put on a podcast and go collect the items on the map type thing.
Right.
The story is there. It's kind of forgettable or whatever, but I mean, it's literally I just go in and I just get clear out each zone until it gets to 100% of everything collected, move on to the next one, stuff like that. If I buckle down, I probably could finish that by end of the year, but. It again, it's just kind of one of those. It's a nice game to have. I'm not going to say that everyone needs to play it, but for a game that's 8 years old, almost 9 years old now, it was 2013 that came out.
Wow, really?
It did, yeah. It holds up pretty well. So, and then Mike mentioned it. Probably what would be my game of the year if Demu is my VR game of the year. Definitely my flat VR, my flat game of the year is going to be Ghost of Tsushima because I didn't do anything with that last year when it launched, and I got the PS5 version, so it had all the extra bells and whistles. But you guys talked about the DualSense, and the downside, kind of like with Game Pass, the downside to the DualSense is when people don't use it or when they use it poorly.
Yes,
Borderlands 3. I know that was mentioned earlier. That game, like for a studio that big. To phone in DualSense.
They phoned that DualSense in so fucking bad.
It makes me angry. I turned it off. It was terrible. But the things they did with the DualSense, the just the end game things like the wind taking you to where your objectives, stuff that nobody's thought of in games before, at least not in ones that I've played, and really taking advantage of that controller. And then just like Mike said, it's just a really good game with it. It's a really good story. It's action. It's not just button mashing, but at the same time, it's not like you have to do, feng shui with your fingers to get to pull off a certain move. Metroid.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was really solid, and I actually platinumed it. That was the first platinum I got on a game since. Fallout 3 or the first Borderlands. I'm not sure which one, but I don't have a lot of those because again, I don't tend to finish a lot of games. But that one I wanted to see to the end. So
yeah, no, it that to me is definitely a big highlight. Like just again, like you said, the way they use the DualSense and the thing I don't think enough people talk about with Tsushima. I love the filters. I love that it has a Kurosawa mode. And it's all black and white.
I never use a photo mode in a game, and I could not stop taking pictures and posting them in that one. Like it just every area you went into looked just a little bit different than the last, but then you get 2 or 3 areas away from where you were, and it's totally different. The day-night cycle, the weather, and that.
But to Al's point, you could change the whole. You could play the whole game in black and white if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can play it in Kurosawa mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely if of all these things, I would say if you can get your hands on a copy of that's something that I would recommend to probably just about everyone who likes fun games and not just all the sports games that came out. So and then I think the only other thing that I'll mention that and Al, you and I have talked a little bit about it, and I'm sure you haven't finished it, even though you have a time machine that lets you play. That Cold Steel game that I played for 12 hours and fell asleep to because it was great. But yeah, Inscription and this is not anything for the Matts and Mikes of the world, and actually most people I would say Inscription is not for. One, it's a card builder game, so at least at its core, it's that. But I finished that probably about a week or so ago. And it's one of those games that starts out as one thing, ends up being something else, and then ends up being something else on top of that. And I felt all good and warm and fuzzy inside when I finally beat that. But then there's this whole ARG section of it where there's little bits and pieces in the game that you see it and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. And even some things I took screenshots of because I figured it was like a clue to another puzzle in the game or something like that.
Yeah.
But turns out it's like hidden code that the developer put, and it references one of his other games that also had a secret thing. And when you scramble the letters and put it into a website, it gives you a phone number, and that phone number gives you coordinates. Like there's this whole hour-long YouTube video that I watched on the actual, not the actual game, but the stuff that was put into the game and references, and it was mind-blowing. And I'm not anyone who would ever figure out any of that stuff, but just the fact that stuff exists and there are people who are willing to go through all that, it definitely was worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, to quote the kids these days, that game is meta as fuck. I'm probably about 20% through it, maybe. I plan on finishing it this week, actually.
Are you? I don't care if I spoil it. Are you still in the cabin?
Yeah, I'm still in the cabin. So what? 10%.
You are not even through Act 1.
Wow! All right.
Someone's mind just got blown.
Yeah, you have a long way to go, my friend.
It's and again, you know, it I don't want to say it does them a disservice, but like to tell like the other game, you know, that this developer is known for, like they're like the mindfuck of games. Like I was almost going to say like the M. Night Shyamalan of games, but these games don't suck. It's more, but it's more like their games have really weird creative twists that, to Jeremy's point, you will never experience in another game, hands down. Like, some games might try to do it. What is it, Pony Island or whatever the hell? Pony.
You wouldn't even know about the ARG unless you went looking for it. The only reason why I wanted to see if there were any endings that I missed, and then I fell down a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole on this other stuff. But just even the game itself, even when you kind of separate all that stuff, the game itself takes you through some things that if you can stomach a card battle or card collecting whatever game long enough, it's definitely worth the journey and the ride. And I kind of just want to go back and play that first act again, just because as things evolve, that's probably the best version of that game. So they were good to leave with it. But you definitely need to sit down and put some time into it and get through it. And once you get into Act 2, you'll see why.
I think when I finish that one, I want to reach out and see if we can talk to one of the developers on the show. Just because, again, like that game does things, and their other games are doing things that, like, no one else is doing, and it's really weird. And it's like you said, like, people like you or I would probably not notice all these layers, but as you start digging, you start digging into this game, and it's like, man, they're just doing something on a whole nother level. It's something you have to experience. And so, yeah, I plan on finishing that this week.
Anyone listening to this, it's not going to come to Game Pass. It's not a console game. So you're just going to have to
it might come to PC Game Pass. It might come to PC Game Pass.
Yeah, that'd be your best bet. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's
my list. So
I was going to say it's $20, I think, or something like that. It's not expensive. Yeah. It's definitely worth a grab. But I think
I did forget one title. I'm sorry to drag this on.
No, please.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes! Oh, I'm glad somebody mentioned this.
Really a fucking good game. Good story. At first I didn't know how I was going to feel about the whole mechanic of like controlling the other characters, but I thought they really nailed the way they implemented that.
Yeah,
it's on sale now in a lot of different places. Pretty hefty discount. But I know you guys are talking about the DualSense. I bought it for Xbox, but I'm curious. I need to read up and see how they implemented the DualSense with the game. If they just phoned it in like Borderlands 3, or if they did, gave it the Ration and Clank experience. Because if they did go down that, if they did take their time and do some cool stuff with it, I will probably pick it up on this sale they got going on right now. That's how much I enjoyed the story. And then if it can heighten it again with the DualSense, I'd play it a second time.
I would absolutely agree to that. Yeah, I would do the same thing. I bought it on Xbox.
Are you sure you're not talking about Marvel Avengers?
No, Guardians of the Galaxy for sure, 100%.
Dude, Avengers sucked so hard. But yeah, no. And Guardians of the Galaxy, like, it's one of those things where, you know, there are a lot of games that try to be funny, but I feel like this game had genuinely laugh out loud moments pretty often.
Yeah, the lines that they have, the banter, it didn't feel forced. There was an article that came out recently explained how they did it. It's very free flowing and it just feels like you're listening in on the group of characters, right? Rather than them just spitting out their lines and they come out, canned. It just felt very, very casual and free flowing.
Yeah, and I will say the one of the things that grabbed me immediately in that game, and this is just because I'm a bit older than, well, no, I'm not older than anybody here.
Damn.
Who are you talking about?
Listen, here's funny, Jim.
Because Matt's really fucking old.
Goddamn young whippersnappers out here! Get off my lawn.
My nickname's not Old Man for nothing.
But I know a lot of you can relate to. Every one of you can pretty much relate to this, and it's that scene in the beginning where you're playing you're Star-Lord, you're in your bedroom, and you're reading the lyrics to the CD of like your favorite rock band, and I don't know, something about that moment immediately grabbed me into this game, and it was like I hadn't thought about doing that in I can't even tell you how many years, and that was like such a regular part of my life when I would buy an album or something. It was like, oh, gotta read the insert and look at the lyrics and the art and everything else. Like there's so many things on many layers that game really nailed, that I thought made it enjoyable, that I am sure anybody under the age of like 25 didn't even fucking understand.
Oh yeah, went right over their heads for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's good. But shit. All right, everyone. Like, this has been a really good time. I'm really sorry we couldn't get Glovebox. I'm not sure what happened. He's saving the world, and we love you, Eric. And sorry you couldn't join us either, Kyle. But yes, it's been a lot of fun catching up with the boys from BadFodderFigures. Thank you, fellas, very much for taking time out of your holiday schedule to come hang out. And Jeremy, unfortunately, you opened that door, so now you might get bugged every now and then to come on and hang out, just to be the counterpoint to my sunshine and rainbows. We could use some more, and Nick too. We're both kind of sunshiny, rainbowy people. And we throwing shit against the wall is fun, and I look forward to those sessions.
It's the only way you can be when you're in the tri-state area, because otherwise you look out your window and you're like, holy fuck.
I'd rather that than a masshole.
Hey.
Oh. I love it. But thank you, fellas, for showing up. Thank you, everybody. Travis, it's really great to talk to you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been.
It really has, man. Thank you for coming by. And other than that, I think we will wrap up episode 84. We will wrap up 2021. It's been a weird year, but a good year, I think, based on what we're talking about here, although we have missed out, according to Jeremy, and he's probably right. We need to hold our games to some standards, damn it. But
everybody enjoy their junior year of COVID.
Can't wait.
Yeah, graduation comes quick, I hope.
I'm going to graduate Sum Omicron Laud.
Oh, yes. Delta Omicron. There we go. But, all right, everybody. Until next time, everybody listening, thanks for hanging out. We look forward to catching up again. Have fun. Play games. Don't be dicks. I realize I didn't go through the forum. Shit.
Too late for that.
Yeah, we're out. We didn't go through the forum of the save point. Sorry, save point. I'll dedicate an edited section to all y'all's input. I appreciate it. Till next
forums?
Penis forums?
No, Penthouse, please. Penthouse.
Your Penthouse. You won't believe what happened to me on the Rent for Rents podcast.
Please, can we call it a tallywhacker? Please.
All right.
I prefer dingus, but that's just me.
Before we sign off, Matt, why don't you give that phone number out one more time?
508.
659 BFFS.
What a better way to end it. See you, everybody.
Arrivederci.
Peace.
What's up, everybody? I hope you enjoyed that episode. I did wanted to jump on the save point really quick and read some of your responses to the games that got you all through 2021. Big thank you again to the BadFodderFigures. Thanks for showing up, boys. We had a lot of fun last night. Travis, it was great to hear from you again. I hope everybody that listened to the episode really enjoyed it as much as we did recording it. It was a ton of fun. So without further ado, I'm just going to read through some of the responses quick, and then I'll let you all go. Steve, his top 3 for this year were Skyrim, AC Valhalla, and Final Fantasy, and he clarified, to be clear, Final Fantasy 1. Yes, those pixel remasters are pretty awesome. Luke had a couple things in the thread here, but when he and I talked, I will say the funniest thing he put in his thread was that the game he played most this year was the Newegg Shuffle. If anyone had told me it would be this difficult to replace a damaged computer component, especially a video card, anytime before 2020, I would have laughed at them. Easily 6 months of this year have been spent doing nothing but suffering through garbage because of damaged hardware. And he did say that Valheim would be his game of the year, which is definitely good. Sean, the great Sean from the Classic Gamers Guild, Binding of Isaac Repentance, Hades, which we gushed about on the show, and the Tetris Effect. That is a fantastic game. More people need to be playing that, checking it out. It is totally worth the bucks, especially if you're a Tetris fan. Aaron gave us Destiny 2, Rocket League, and Luxor HD. Well, interesting choices. Matt was all about the Destiny 2 as well. Rocket League is always good fun, so that's a good one for sure. And Josh, our buddy Josh, comes in at us with Tabletop Simulator. Josh used to be a gamer. He used to play games, but now he is all in on tabletop games, board games, and I've hung out with him and his buddies once or twice for some Tabletop Simulator fun. And there's definitely a lot there. If you're into that kind of thing, it really does make it easy to play it multiplayer with your friends, especially through Steam. Highly recommend checking that out. But that is all the input we got from the save point, from everybody that reached out. So I hope you all had a good holiday. Have a great new year. And the Retro Rents will see you all in 2022. Can't wait. We got a lot of cool stuff lined up. Some cool interviews coming down the pipe as soon as I can get the details settled for that. And other than that, have fun, play games, and don't be dicks.